Alfie is a WOR race winner.
Jensen makes it 5 in a row.
Danny Berejnay wins on debut.
Shinaka returns to winning ways in WOR.
Season 12 sees a new man. It's Shadow. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jensen is the new king of PlayStation.
From the back row of the grid, against all odds, Nicholas Longy wins the title.
Goes past the safety car.
What has gone on here?
Furman spins.
Stunning move from the Spaniard.
He's taken out Rambo!
Here comes Longy.
We're going four-way down to turn one.
Oh, he's taken him out!
The captain riders collide.
Tomek to the inside.
Shadow wins at Brazil. Absolutely sensational.
Good evening and welcome everybody to the Italian Grand Prix. We're at Monza for WOR Round 9 Season 13. After last weekend's incredible Canadian Grand Prix with shocks and surprises throughout, we are here for the Tifosi in Monza, like I've just said. But again, this week I've got another, Ryan's jet setting around everywhere, so I've got a more than capable commentator alongside me, who will be alongside me on Friday nights for the WRLD events as well, and that is Callum G. Welcome along, Callum G. It's an absolute pleasure to have you alongside me again.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's good to be here, good to step in tonight, and what a place to step in at the Temple of Speed here at Monza. I just said earlier, 20 drivers on the grid tonight, nothing can go wrong surely. It should be a good one, and yeah, hopefully we can get a good race out of it as well.
Now, looking back throughout the years, I think season 11 we didn't have a race here, so it was season 12 last time out, and none of the point scorers in season 12 of tier 1 of Xbox are here tonight, so it's going to be a massively changed grid to whatever happened last time anyway. So drivers are now just getting out on track as well, so very much beating me to the point, which is a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. However, I will just take you through the standings just very, very quickly, and that is Otis Lawrence, elite, the man that is nearly impossible when it comes to Xbox League racing, is leading the way, 55 points I believe from VSR Smokey in second place, with VSR Wilson and Scyther both 88 and 87 points respectively, still in with a chance. I think Callum is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not over yet for all these drivers, and it is still very, very close all over the grid. Even at the bottom as well, kind of around that 10th to 11th area, it is very, very close. So, yeah, and you got to remember that we're only halfway through this season. It's a little bit of a longer one as well. We've got 16 rounds this season, so this is only round 8, so we're exactly at the midway point, and yeah, as you rightfully said, still more than much to play for.
Now, 3 weeks of 3 different race winners, and that was Axe, Smokey, and then obviously last week at Canada of Otis Lawrence as well. But PSR Fern made an absolute incredible attempt last week to displace Elite at the top of the race standings there at Canada with some incredible pace, and he nearly did it with a little bit of a fortuitous safety virtual safety car. and it nearly worked out for him, but it was some great pace. Someone who didn't have as much luck is the Aston Martin driver of McCabe, Sam, who we've got a little bit of inside information. He might be pretty quick around here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely get my hopes up for him tonight. He's been showing some good pace the last few rounds as well. McCabe Sam, you look at Spa as well. He was running pretty nicely, and he crashed in the final lap. I think it was P5 he was running for last week before he ran out of fuel, and then he got P6. So yeah, the pace is looking good for the Aston Martin driver. And here tonight at Monza, anything can happen. But I think it's really important to get a good qualifying tonight for any of these drivers, not just Sam, because it's not the easiest to overtake. As much as it might look at all these straights, but it's so easy to get caught up in the DRS and just sat looking behind another driver. So yeah, these next 18 minutes could be really important for some of these drivers.
Let's see what the first round of times is going to be. First guy across the line is Choco, and it usually is Choco. He comes out quite early to set a lap time, and it's good to see because he hasn't had the best of races this season, unfortunately for him. But it's nice to give him a little bit of stream time on here, and he does, for the time being, go fastest overall. But he does get displaced by VSR Finn, who's showed him some incredible pace this season, especially at Silverstone. And there we go. Otis Lawrence is, well, FRA Elite leading the way by 0.2 of a second. And there goes WOR Abito, who's just spun at Parabolica.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him. They're just looking out for a few other drivers, but the majority have invalidated. VSR Nico was the only one that can see it still in a valid lap, just coming out with the Scarish chicane. He goes there and comes to the final corner of Parabolica. We've just seen a few moments ago there from the Red Bull how hard that corner can be, so it's really important. He can try and nail this last corner, come into it now. It's 50th for the Ferrari, try to get on that throttle there as they can. The Ferrari slightly strong when the smoky goes fast as an 18.6. What can this Ferrari do now? They come across the line. Can he hit provisional pole? It's only P11, a slow lap there from Nico at 19.8.
Not what he would have wanted at all. And Lucas is on a lap. Let's see what he can do. He showed some relatively decent pace, I think this season is the best way to describe it. As Lucas, he's shown some incredible battling with FRA Elite at Silverstone. I will keep on bringing up Silverstone because there was so much action, but he has such a shame there for Lucas. He's invalidated straight away at the second Varante della Regia. I probably can't really say that too much. Probably incorrect, but Connor across the line, P11. Smokey then, like we said, is fastest of all. I don't think he's going to be setting another lap time, but we will just quickly go on board with a Red Bull man as he's 2 seconds slower. But it's great to see someone bringing the fight to Otis.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's not that often we see someone set provisional pole that isn't Otis Lawrence. I think I remember briefly in Singapore, Otis Lawrence never got pole position and then he went and won the race. But yeah, it's good to see Smokey. It's a good lap time from him there in 18.8, very competitive. However, he will need to build on that. He's got 12 minutes to build on that because I'm definitely confident that that will be a better time than that to get pole position.
An FRA driver that has not had the best of luck this season, and that is Matthew down in 18th place currently, yet to set a lap time, but he is purple in Sector 1. This is exactly the confidence he will need to get himself through. He's been the nearly man with everything he's done this season, and it's such a shame because pre-season, a lot of people were saying he's the one that can really give it to FRA Elite, but at the moment, not having the best of lucks, like I've mentioned, and he's into the Ferranti Ascari right now, just executing it. It looks pretty solid to me so far as he comes down into, well, what is the Parabolica, and see what sort of lap time the AlphaTauri driver can do.
Yeah, we're interested to see what he can do here. He's definitely got the pace to be up there on his day. I think maybe consistency is his issue sometimes for Matthew, but we never know. Here's he coming across line. Where can he put that AlphaTauri? And it is P7 and 1 minute 19.307. Not a bad lap there from Matthew, but I'm sure he can definitely do better than that.
Yeah, he'll definitely want to be a little bit higher up. Is that 2D just about to set a lap time? He's the next one to do a lap. Red light flashing at the back, so he was harvesting, but he's gone full pelt as he comes through the Parabolica now. Only 11 corners here at Monza. I think there's a few smaller tracks here, and that is maybe Austria has shorter amount or lower amount of corners on a circuit, but it's like you mentioned at the start, it's the festival of speed. It is incredibly quick, this track. One small mistake and it will cost them big time.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's only 11 corners, as you said, but they can be really awkward, some of these corners. You know, you've got turn 1 and 2, it's really easy, especially in the race, to have a bit of a domino effect and get bogged down. Then coming on here with 2D, this is a really tricky corner. The curbs can be really uncertain, really unpredictable as well, and then we're coming into the Lesmos as well. We can very easily run out wide, just carry too much speed, or even lose it on the exit. Coming into Lesmo 2 as well now. 2D, it's been a pretty good lap for him so far, and he has kept it nice and sidey. But going on to that kind of topic of awkwardness, the Ascari chicane as well, this could be really tricky. The left end, and it's a bit of a right end back into the left. The curbs can be really uncertain. Sometimes the car doesn't want to agree with it and will stick on board with Toody now. Yeah, he can go, he's just about keeping it in balance, missing the curb as well. And he's got, it's been a pretty good lap from Toody so far. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him as well. That's not going to do him any favours. But just one last corner to navigate now, and that is Parabolica, one of the easier corners on the track, but still definitely can be messed up. 6th gear for Toody as he comes through the final corner now. We've got a car in front of him, but that won't make too much of a difference. It's a short run at the line out, stays to the right hand side. The Aston Martin comes across line, so 1 minute 19.3, and that puts him just inside the top 10.
There was a huge gaggle of cars, and this is something we might need to worry about. I know teammates aren't allowed to, slipstream and all that, but it could be very similar to the real F1, where a couple of seasons ago, where no one got their last laps in because everybody didn't want to be the first car through. I wonder if we're going to get something similar tonight, because all the cars are on track. There is so much going on. It could be possibilities that people will just get in the way of each other. There's VSR Finn, back end stepping out at the second Lesmo there as he hurtles down to Ascari, and let's see how he can handle the pressure of probably one of the tightest and quickest corners you'll ever see on a track. And there is Otis Lawrence setting the lap time again for people to beat. Smokey is on a lap, and I wonder if he's going to be able to raise his game one more time. But VSR Finn, as he rounds around Parabolica for his second lap, down the start-finish straight he goes. Can he beat his lap time, which is currently in 13th place? Across the line, it's P7 for him.
Yeah, just looking with Chizul Lacey, unfortunately he spun coming out of the final corner. He was definitely on for a good lap there, so yeah, it's a real shame for him. Just looking more with McCabe Sam at the moment, Aston Martin driver down in P19. He's got a lot of making up to do, didn't manage to set a run on his first run, so he's definitely got a bit of work to do. It's a purple middle sector apparently, not too sure how accurate that is, but definitely a very nice Ascari chicane there, and it's setting him up very nicely for this Parabolica now. Just one last corner for this Aston Martin to go, and certainly could put himself pretty high up there. A bit of grass on the inside, definitely not ideal. Car's a bit squabbly as well coming through the final corner, but you never know. Let's see what McCabe Sam can say as he comes across line. It's all at 19.1, and that puts him into P8.
Yeah, like you say, not ideal with that little bit of a clip on the grass into Parabolica, but here comes WR Uppbeat, and he goes into the pits. That was quite commentator's cursey there. Smokey then has invalidated his lap time. Is PSR Connor going to give us a lap time? He is just about to start his, or is he just set a really poor lap time? I think that was a really bad lap time from him. I'm not 100% sure. We will stay on board with the Ferrari driver, but don't seem to have, for the last couple of seasons, the Ferrari drivers' lucks have not been good here in WOR, but hopefully for PSR Connor and VSR Nico, they can turn that around.
Yeah, PSR Connor is up against it tonight slightly. He's on the controller, and this Monza slightly notorious for being pretty tricky on for controller players, especially those curbs, and there's a prime example there for Connor. A little bit on the gravel there, and definitely not the ideal line as he comes through the Lesmos. Now he's certainly got a bit of making up to do on this lap, because it hasn't been ideal for the Ferrari driver so far.
So the second Lesmo down the well, let's call it the back straight tonight, or the second straight. I don't know. There's too many straights here at Monza. But into Ascari he comes. Let's see if he can keep it nice and tight. And I mean, if you were, I'm not saying Connor's not a front runner, but if you were like a mid runner like Connor, what sort of time do you reckon he'd be wanting to setting to get himself into like mid to low top tens?
I think maybe if Connor can sneak into maybe the very low 19s, a 19 flat, maybe an 18 in a great lap, but it's definitely not going to be an 18 this lap, because that was a huge mistake coming out of Parabolica, just a bit too much speed for what the car can handle. And at the moment, a 19 would be good for Connor at the moment, because he's well off the pace at the moment down in P19, and fail him to set a lap there.
Let's see, McLaren driver of Lacey maybe could be setting a lap time after his misdemeanors earlier on with a spin at Parabolica. He's able to hold Parabolica that time. Is this the start of his lap time? It is. No, it's that was his out lap, so it didn't actually tell me. So let's go on board with someone who might actually be setting a lap time. Matthew is not going to be that driver because he's just invalidated. Yeah, so maybe 2D setting a lap time. No, he's again It's not telling me if they're on the outlap properly or not, I don't think. But anyway, let's go on board with the Aston Martin driver again. Let's see what he can do.
Yep, he's got a big time to set here now, hasn't he? Down in P15. It's not been ideal for him through turn 1 and 2. He's done that very nicely. He's managed to get it stopped, which can be pretty tricky at points. You're carrying all that speed. It's such a low wing around here as well, which is make turn 1 and 2 that a little bit more awkward. And coming through Curva Grande now as well, just sticking to the right hand side, and then coming into this very awkward left-right chicane. As I said earlier, the curves can be really awkward through here, and can he navigate it well? It's 4th gear up into 5th, and do you know what? The Aston Martin, he's on a pretty good lap here so far. As he coming through the Lesmos, he goes, can he navigate this nicely? It's 5th gear, a little bit of understeer there, struggling a little bit, but he's keeping it on the track, and that is the most important thing. 2nd Lesmo now as well, and do you know what? Today, this is a very nice lap so far.
Yeah, I think last time as well, he got caught with a little bit of traffic ahead of him, and it says traffic again. He seems to be a traffic magnet at the moment. Is this Aston Martin as they come through Ascari for his 3rd time, I believe, tonight? And down through Ascari, that looks tidy, to be perfectly honest. Let's see what he can do as he heads down, hurtles towards the Parabolica. He's full pace all the way through. It's nice pedal to the floor here for him, and it's nice and steady through Parabolica. Maybe a little bit more he could have done to clip the curb there, but across the line, it's only P9. That felt a lot faster than that.
Yeah, definitely did. It was nice and tidy. It wasn't just too crazy. It wasn't completely hectic, but maybe that was the issue. And then there, just looking with WOR Uppbeat at the moment, currently in P14 in the Red Bull. A little bit of traffic there as he passes the Ferrari, coming into Parabolic, and now just one more corner for the Red Bull to navigate. Trying to get himself maybe into that top 10 if possible. 5th gear there, using all the track on next. A bit of a moment there, but he's done very well to keep that in the right direction. It's a short run to the line. Where can he put this Red Bull? It's a 1 minute 19.1, and that's P10 just ahead of McCabe Sam.
WR Wilson then, even though he is not WR Wilson, he's someone else Wilson. Let's just call him Wilson as he comes through Ascari, and let's see what he can do. This is going to be a very... there's a lot of pressure on him. You know, he's battling with Smoke Insider for maybe P2. Sav's put himself into a great position in P3 as well. We've not seen the best of Sav this season, but his 1 lap pace has been incredible. For Wilson though, across the line, can he do anything? It's quicker, but not quick enough to challenge Sav ahead of him, who could be on a lap time that could set the world alight. FRA Finn Bob maybe, or shall we go on Finn as he goes into the pit? So let's stay on board with Finn Bob as he comes through the first Lesmo into the second Lesmo. There was traffic for him there though, and I wonder if that's put him off a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely had, but Joe, you don't need a lot of lap time improvement here to get yourself into that top 10 or top 5. Just looking at Finn Bob at the moment, he's just under 4/10 off pole, so that's not a lot of time around here, especially if you can make up time really easily. But at the moment, 200th down, they come through Ascari, but look at the commitment through there with that Alpine. He's really nailed that, hasn't he? And definitely could be that little bit of time we need to try and get himself into that top 10. As I said, not a lot in it, a 10th, maybe a 2/10. Definitely see him gain at least 6-7 positions coming out the Parabolic, and now it's 5th gear for the Alpine up into 6th really early on. He's using every bit of track there, and it's nice and stable, not too much movement on the back of that Alpine. So they've got one to the line, as I said. He comes across the line, it's a 1 minute 19 flat, and that puts him into P8.
I think that could be Matthew behind as well. Is he just about to set a lap time? He's just about to start a lap. So let's stay on board with FRA Matthew for a full lap here, unless he does something silly and invalidates somewhere along the line. But it's looking pretty strong through the first Ferrante, holding very, very steady. And while we're on board with him, I think, you know, can Otis Lawrence break the 18.5 here on the Xbox side of things? I think that's the question on anyone's lips, because PC was, I believe, 18.4, maybe 18.3. I can't fully remember last night. So Otis is that next level. PC is his next level.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's a good comparison. It's obviously a slightly different game, PC to Xbox, but it's always a good comparison to make, and I think always definitely has the ability to do that. But 2 and a bit tenths, it's quite a lot to do for his last lap, so you never know. But looking at 2 and a bit tenths, that's what Matthew's up right now. 2.5 tenths he's up, and that could definitely see him through to that top 10. But a bit of a wobble through Ascari there. The curb definitely not been too friendly with the floor of that Alpha Tauri. But Joe, he's still on the track and he's still on a valid lap, so this could be a good lap here from Matthew. And he certainly does need it. P15, that's pretty low for his standards. He's notoriously pretty good in qualifying, can Matthew be? So P15 is definitely below par for him. Now he's coming across the line now. Where did he put that Alpha Tauri? Can it be in the top 10? Can it be the top 5? And it is. It's P4 for FRA Matthew at 1:18.9. It's a lap time too, isn't he?
What a lap from FRA Matthew. Really put the pressure on himself, but he's managed to hold firm there. There's so many cars on track. I'm not really... Let's go on board with Choco first. as people are just starting their laps. I think that's Otis just about to start his final lap as well. But what FRA Finbob then retires. Is that in the pit lane? That is in the pit lane. There's no crash, thankfully. But let's see what Choco can do. Currently P18, and we'll have to wait and see. Not too long, though, because a 1 minute, 20 minimum time, maximum time for a lap here at Monza in qualifying. And, he's nearly at the end of the back straight here, going into Parabolica. So let's see what Choco can do. Around Parabolica, the Haas driver goes. And it's a little bit of a mistake, I think, on the middle part of that corner, which caused the back end to step out a little bit. It is quicker. It's P16 for him. Who else could be finishing a lap time? It won't be Lucas. He's going very, very slowly. It's got on board with PSR Connor, who's looking to go quicker than his 1:19.8.
Yeah, definitely is, and we definitely talked about those troubles he had earlier on, and he's not really managed to resolve them either. P19, he's got a lot of work to do now coming through his final corner, and we'll be at least looking for him to get the top 12, at least try and get in the mixer there. But let's see if he comes across line. What lap is it for the Ferrari? It's a 1:19.3. It's only P17. It's a tough session for the Welshman.
Otis Lawrence is currently just 400th of a second quicker. 400? 400th of a second quicker. I was going to say 4/10, and that would have been much quicker than he was going. But Matthew's retired. He's gone in the pit lane. His qualifying is done and dusted. P4 for him at the moment. Otis Lawrence does go quicker. It's an 18.6. That is ridiculously quick on an Xbox. Smokey then, he's invalidated. He's not going to go quicker. Can PSR Sav do something that not very many people have done and beat Lawrence to pole? He cannot, but he has got himself on the front row of the grid.
Yeah, not too bad. Then McCabe Sam coming across the line there as well. He puts himself into P7 at 1:19 flat for the Aston Martin. Good lap from him there.
And here comes Sider across the line. Can he make amends? He's knocked FRA Matthew out of 4th place, and he is up there as well. Wilson hasn't set a lap time, so his Nico has crashed. Wow, that was an unfortunate timing for me to go on board with him, and he's not out of the session, but he's got no front wing.
That's unfortunate. Just on board with Amani, I think he's the final driver to set a lap time, but I'm not too sure if it's a fast lap time, is it? Yeah, it looks... Oh, never mind. No, it's not. He's mugged me off there. He's into the pit lane. That's his session over, and he'll finish in P10.
So there we have it. We've had a previous race winner in last place and a multiple race winner in first place. It's a massive race winner sandwich, it feels like we've got here. Connor, I don't know how to take that one. But anyway, let's go down the order, and it is Otis Lawrence on pole position by a 10th of a second from PSR Sav. In the second row of the grid, it's WR Smokey and Sider, respectively there. And Smokey twice invalidating his fast laps could cost him majorly there. Matthew in 5th, 6th to Wilson, 7th to Plackey, 8th to McCabe Sam. Good to see him back in the swing of things as well. Lacey in 9th after his spin. Amin in 10th place, rounding out the top 10 there. Finn, Bob, Pisty, Tudi, Abito, Finn, Choco, Connor, Nico, Lucas and Axe are the guys that have finished the outside of the top 10 in that order. Axe with a 125. That's uncharacteristic. That.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tough session for Axe there. But Joe, if you take out Axe's time there, only 8/10 separating first from 19th. So as much as it might be a short track and there's only 11 corners, that is not a lot of time from 1st to 18th, 19th I should say, sorry. So yeah, a lot to play for in this race. I think DRS trains could be a huge theme of this race just because the grid looks so close in terms of pace. But Joe, it only takes for one driver to go for a move and it could be a complete domino effect. So yeah, this should be a good race.
It's we're pretty much exactly right in the middle of this season 13 calendar, just as it's on the screen. I might as well talk about it. So Italy this week, Monza, absolute incredible track we've got ourselves now, and then we've got Spain next week. That's going to be a cracker of a track as well. I can't wait for that one just to see how they've adjusted the game slightly. I think they've adjusted it slightly. I'm not 100% sure. Abu Dhabi, Singapore, Japan, Mexico, Brazil, and then ending the season at possibly my favourite commentary track, Saudi Arabia. That has caused so much, I don't want to say carnage because it means that there's bad driving, but it's not. Just people just out of place, causing people problems, and I can't wait for that one to come round. It's not too far away now. It's not far till Christmas, is it? Or have I said the C word a bit too soon?
Yeah, it's fair to assume we've just hit October, but yeah, it's a few good tracks along the way as well there. Singapore, that's standing out for me. We've seen it in the world. I don't know if you're over that one yet, the safety cars we got, but yeah, that's a standout track as well. Abu Dhabi as well, that always provides some good racing. Then you've got a few good little tracks like Mexico, Brazil, Japan all in there, so yeah, it's a good second half of the season, and yeah, we'll certainly be looking forward to watching them all.
Now, obviously, as your first time in the Tier 1 side of things, you've done probably more knowledge for more research than I have, but has qualifying gone as kind of expected for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think Otis Lawrence and pole is what you expect these days, but I always think it's quite unpredictable, that second, third, fourth spot. No one's really took too much control of it, as much as Smokey is in a good position in the championship. Sometimes in races it is a bit up for grabs. So yeah, I think for the most part it's been pretty predictable so far.
So 6 seconds left, so there's a quick reminder of how the standings look, but we are going to get ourselves back onto track because the racing is very much nearly here. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights at Monza, and we're going. It looks like it's a pretty poor start from the Red Bull in the background. He could be caught out in the by Pierce Sider in the, I think, but all defending massively as it is one train. Otis has held the lead from WR Smokey out of all that. Sav is now down to 4th place. He's been caught out. Sider in 3rd. Matthew held his position as well. And but big winner is Choco, up 5 places. That's incredible start for him. But Smokey having a look at Lawrence into Varante, the second Varante, got nothing doing. But Sider's looking to have a word with that as well. And Choco up another position.
Yeah, Choco's causing chaos down there at P9. He went for a huge move, and I think that's a safety car as well. Moving from a consequence from an accident further back. But yeah, just quick look at SAV Legends there. That was a tough start from him there, bogged down instantly, and you could just tell that was going to be a tough start. Siphon, Smokey, that's an easiest position they'll get all day, and it's only a virtual safety car as well, which will make our lives slightly easier.
Yeah, Abito, Finn, Nico all caused in a trouble there, and Lucas. So Lucas already a retiree, but let's have a look. Let's go back to Sav has had a poor start. Initially, I thought he was going to be. He had a great start, but Smokey, that second phase of his start was very, very good. I think, Finn and Abito might feel very, very hard done by that. It's not a full safety car, and especially if they have to have a front wing change. But Otis Lawrence then, holding station at the moment, with the VSC not yet coming in. We've had 1 lap and pits for those guys who's had issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like McCabe Sam, the moment going round the outside of that FRA plaque going into turn 1. Oh wow, he made the most of that virtual safety car restyle there, and he definitely took opportunity, and the Aston Martin up into P7 already. And
we've lost another driver. It looks like Lacey and maybe Pisty came together at just before turn 1. I'm going to stay on board with. I don't think we're gonna. Yeah, no. Let's have a look at some of these drivers that are actually fighting. Amin and Finn, but yeah, Pisty out of this race as the safety car restarted. There's been carnage here at Monza already, and Pisty is going to be fuming.
Yeah, he definitely will be down out of the race already, and sometimes it's just not your fault. So yeah, tough one for Pisty. He's a pretty quick driver as well. He'd have been hoping he could try and get some sort of points today, but yeah, unfortunately just not his day. And just quickly looking at the front as well, WR Smokey, he's done a great job so far, just sticking the DRS or the slipstream of Otis Lawrence, and that will turn to the DRS this time next lap. So yeah, it's really important for Smokey, and yeah, it should just make his life a little bit easier and be able to try to stay within that range of Otis Lawrence.
So Finn Bob is 1.7 seconds behind Choco, so there is a little bit of a gap forming in the train, which means we have 2 battles to watch out for. Smokey unable to attack just yet, but can Matthew catch Sav? He's looking for the inside, but it's not happening at the moment, and Axe is now the fastest man on the line, and I think Sav has made another mistake because Matthew is desperate to have a go. Wilson's there as well, and I think Wilson's picking the bones of this battle because he's around the outside of Matthew as they go around the Curva Grande for the 3rd time. Can Wilson do anything about it? I don't think he is. It's going to go free wide into Varante 2.
Oh wow, it's really close from the inset, and it's Alpine of WR Wilson's just about going to get the move done. He's forced Matthew off, finds Matthew. He's going to have to concede the position, not one but two. McCabe Salmondale gains another one there, and there for Placky, he wants to get stuck in himself. He's enough pushing that Alpha Tauri through the Lesbos, but I think FRA Matthew might just have about hang on to that one, but DRS is in use, and so is ERS, but FRA Matthew, he's just got the legs on the Mercedes, and he just about will hang on to that P7.
This is crazy stuff in the midfield battle. Choco, after starting so far down, is up into P9 now. Most people here are on the hard compound tyres as well, but some people have gone on to the mediums. I think Abito actually started on the mediums as well as they hurtled down to Parabolica for the third time. And Smokey keeping up with Lawrence at the time for the time being, but PSR Sav, after all that, is slowly making another gap between himself and Cider. So with the front three are running away a little bit. Axe again, just proving he's quick and he just never had the qualifying pace.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone's wondering, Finn Bob with a 5-second penalty, he went wide at turn 1, or he went wide, he went deep at turn 1. He cut that inside bit, and unfortunately did get a 5-second time penalty for doing that. A lot of drivers that last lap, I know, was missing their braking point for turn 1. I'm not too sure what the reason for that one was, but there were a few of them. I think Smokey did it, and I think obviously Sav did it. But another big mistake from Sav there is cut across the chicane there. He didn't gain any penalty, maybe a warning for that one as well there. But yeah, once again, Sav just showing a little bit of weakness there.
Yeah, unfortunate for Sav. Nico getting a penalty for in the pit lane. I wonder if there's breakboard markers missing at turn 1, which is why we're having a fair few drivers missing their braking points, because that is going to be very problematic for some of these drivers. Still into the battle here for P4 really. Wilson trying to get past PSR Sav, and it could be this lap because he's getting closer and closer. He's a lot closer than he was last time after FRA Matthew, I don't want to say an incident because it makes it sound like they came together, but just an incident where drivers had to go off track. But here comes Wilson down the start-finish straight. There's nothing Smokey can do against Otis Lawrence this time around, but here comes Wilson up the inside. That is dispatched of Sav pretty easily there, and he's going to be hoping to catch back up with his championship rivals ahead of him.
Yeah, DRS is so important around here, and Sav just losing that is going to be pretty monumental for this race. Just looking for the back, is that Choco getting in the wars? I'm not too sure. Or Ferrari as well, who's retired from the race as well. So yeah, all kicking off a little bit there.
Yeah, let's go on board with McKay Sam. Just behind him, he's got Matthew. Just ahead of him, he's got PSR Sav, who's starting to struggle with the race pace a little bit, and that's going to be frustrating for him. But McCabe Sam showing some real good race pace, and maybe our inside informant is was telling the truth. Lacey then getting the fastest lap of the race. He is on those medium compound tyres, a little bit nicer to start with. Those ones, especially at the start of the race, but he's got a lot of gap to go, and he's battling away with Abito, and I think they are, well, I'm not going to go off board with the battle for P5 at the moment, which Wilson has done a really, really good job of bringing the train back together for the lead.
Yeah, huge stuff, but unfortunately at the expense of his DRS. I'm not even too sure if he got the DRS there, as it was about a second as he kind of ticked over that DRS board, but 5% DRS is to the name of Wilson, so yeah, tough on it. He doesn't even get DRS as well. He's hit his fastest lap. That just shows how much he's been pushing. We talked about pushing. McCabe Sam on the back of SAV Legends. It's not too much defence from the harsh driver, and Aston Martin. It looks like a pretty simple move. He comes into turn 1. All he has to do is spot that braking point, and he does that pretty well. So McCabe Sam up another position into P5.
I think those boards are missing. They are. I think some of the boards are missing anyway. But Sav then P6 dropping like a stone. He's going to attack back at the Aston Martin this time around, but I don't think it's going to be enough into the second Ferrante. And unfortunate for him, he's now down to P6 after starting this race in second place. Cider then trying to size up a move on Smokey, but it's not happening at the moment. I think Smokey's going to be able to hold on for the time being, but we will go on board with the Williams driver as he sizes up WR Smokey.
Yeah, it's interesting from Cypher at the moment. He's not really got much DRS to his name, 20% in contrast to the 60% and nearly 90% of the two drivers in front of him. So yeah, he's been really pushing these first few laps. WR Wilson's done an incredible job getting into the DRS of the guys in front, and he's just about getting it 3% to his name, not a lot. The Cape Sam, he's had to push a little bit as well this lap to make sure that he can stay within that DRS range as well. So yes, a few of these guys at the front definitely giving it their all.
Yeah, I think Otis is starting to try and turn the screw a little bit with these guys. Just pull away, just have his own race a little bit, because it is a high, you know, 0.8 of a second between a lot of these drivers. And I think Choco's dropped off. He's got Finn Bob, who's brought it back in there. Axe unable to continue setting fastest laps. Now he's got himself into a train. But yeah, McCabe Sam could be in trouble here for losing the DRS to Wilson. But it does technically mean we got a four-way battle for the lead. But McCabe Sam, through the Curva Grande, he's actually made a lot of time up. It was like 0.3 seconds he's made there. So he could have just saved himself.
Yeah, if he needs a big few Lesmos here, just one Lesmo, what do you think about it? DRS to take some point. He's on the exit Lesmo one, so a good Lesmo there from McCabe Sam, which he does get 9/10 of a second, so he just about gets back into that DRS range, which is pretty huge in the context of his race. So yeah, Sam, for his race sake, will try and close up to the back of this top four now and try and settle into a bit of a rhythm.
Yeah, let's see how it all pans out. We are on lap 7 of 27 here at Monza. We've lost free driver Lucas very early doors, Pisty the next lap, and then Nico the next lap. We're not sure why Nico has retired, but I think it could be down to some damage that he picked up and he just wasn't prepared to wait for a safety car. That is something we have had, a virtual on the first lap, but nothing else just yet. There is a big battle for P15 as well, with between Lacey and Abito, with Amin trying to get himself into the swing of things as well. Nothing in the overtaking opportunity, but we will pop and have a look as Axe and Connor get very, very close, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The DRS is saving Connor a little bit there, but Choco is going much slower now, and that is the break in the train that we, well, I say we want, that Axe, Connor and Finn Bob want.
Yeah, absolutely, gives him a bit more of a chance, but Axe and Connor have done a fantastic job to get to the position they are in. Choco as well, we mentioned that earlier, but yeah, Connor and Axe under the radar slightly, these two starting, I think it was 18th and 20th, Axe set like a 25 in qualifying, so yeah, good to see these two guys are definitely making up for it and showing some pretty promising race pace.
And this is the wonderful thing about Xbox Tier 1. Sometimes we get a really great qualifying pace, like we've seen with Sav, but their race pace isn't as good as some of other people's. So let's see what is happening with WR Wilson. Maybe his aggressive ERS usage earlier on has meant that he's going to start to struggle with Scyther as he tries to save some, because McCabe Sam is still battling away. If I believe Mr. Caesar or not, there's apparently rain in 10 minutes as well. What a way to spice up this race.
Oh wow, that would definitely throw a spanner in the works if we had some rain. And yeah, that would definitely have been an interesting one to watch. But yeah, just looking Wilson at the moment, he has lost that DRS as it stands. Just over a second is the gap from him to Scyther. So yeah, a lot of making up to do there for him if he wants to try and get back into that DRS. It's just about hovering between that second gap as they've got a yellow flag in sector 1.
It's Lacey then massively lost out and again caused in an incident, but we will wait to see if Mr. Caesar is right or not. It's looking bright and sunny here in Monza, so we'll wait and see. But WR Wilson just outside of the he is harvesting down the straight as they head towards Ascari, so he knows he's going to have to defend soon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to put him under some serious pressures from McCabe Sam now. As McCabe, he's got a little bit more ERS to use, 60% nearly to his name he's using now as well, coming out of the exit of Ascari. I think he knows McCabe Sam, this is his time to pounce. This is possibly a time to get P4 in this race, so stick aboard with the Aston Martin as he goes to try and hunt down this Alpine of WR Wilson. Has definitely been struggling these last few laps. As you said, maybe that earlier push has came back to bite him slightly. Just look at McCabe Sam now, he's using the ERS, he now gets that DRS, and Wilson, it could be defenceless here, but McCabe Sam with the ERS, look at the speed advantage he gets, and while Wilson put up a defence, he doesn't. We've got a lap car as well on the inside, but McCabe Sam's a pretty simple move, and then down the inside, and it's up to P4 for the Aston Martin.
So this is McCabe Sam into P4 now, and there is a lot of action still to happen. Scyther losing ground to Smokey. Let's go on to this battle for P1, because Smokey started to have a little bit of a resurgence and really pushing Otis a little bit, and Scyther could be left behind.
Yeah, definitely could be. Sam and Smokey swapping positions there. Not too sure what's happened to McCabe Sam, but that's a strange one to lose a position there. I'm not sure if that's a mistake from the Aston Martin driver or if Wilson just got him back there. But yeah, I'm confused. There's a bit of weaving between the two of them. I think we've probably missed something.
Yeah, we might have done. There's a retirement from Abito as well. And this is interesting because that's 5 drivers now gone on lap 10. And they might have, some of them might have shot themselves in the foot, because if safety car comes out, then they've got every chance of getting back in the race.
Yeah, I think we've seen it firsthand at Singapore and World, how easy a safety car can be triggered. So, yeah, I'm surprised a lot of these guys aren't just staying there, you know, just you don't have to be driving at a million miles an hour, just keep it on the track, keep it without any penalties. And as you said, if a safety car comes, you're right back in the mixer. So, yeah, it's a strange thing to see this many drivers retire, kind of manually, not doing it without a choice. So, yeah, strange stuff from a few of those guys.
Yeah, let's see. There's the stricken Red Bull of Abito. Can WOR Smokey do anything in the second Verante? Heading down, I think Otis Lawrence, FRA Elite, sorry, is very much in control of the Red Bull driver at the moment. But time will tell with everything else going on. McCabe Sam wasn't able to get past Wilson either. Choco has been passed by Finn Bob as well, as Axe and Connor. It's all a little bit swappy and changey, but the front battle is really heating up.
Yeah, but Otis Lawrence, he does just look in control. With the ERS, if anyone's wondering, Otis Lawrence is on 92%, you've got WR Smokey on 40%, then you've got Cypher on 20%, then you've got Wilson really struggling on that 5%, and McCabe Sam and P5 with a little bit more at 50%. So, yeah, Otis Lawrence with a considerably amount more than the rest of the guys around him.
Yeah, there's still a little bit of battling to do, but I think FRA Elite has definitely just got the measure on the 2 behind at the moment. They are just holding station though, just to keep him sweating a little bit longer. Let's have a look at McCabe Sam, because he's again getting very close to the back end of Wilson, but I don't think it's going to be enough this lap. As you can see, the red light, he's harvesting ahead is Wilson. Let's see behind if there's anything going on. There's definitely a braking board missing there at turn 1, so it could be catching a few drivers out. But yeah, these top 8 definitely still within the chance of some decent points, because all it takes is one mistake. We've seen mistakes from the top 3 before. They're not invincible. Otis is nearly invincible, but he's not superly invincible.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little bit of bad luck can strike anyone as well. He's not invincible from that either. So, yeah, it's definitely all to play for. What I just find amazing there is I've seen that the gap between P8 to P9, 4.2 seconds. It's a huge gap from the rest of the field. It's really split up this race a little bit. It's like we're running 2 separate races at the moment. So, yeah, that's a bit of a funny one to look at. And, yeah, just takes the pressure off these guys in the points a little bit more. It gives them a bit more freelance to kind of just fight and a bit battling and not having to worry about the guys behind them. So, yeah, just thought that was a pretty interesting dynamic in the way this race has played out. Sider
in a little bit of trouble there. He's outside of the 1 second mark. I'm going to keep on board with McCabe Sam because he's still quite close to Wilson. Let's see what he can do this time around. Wilson going very defensive. Otis starting to stretch his legs a little bit. It's 1.1 seconds. The front 3 are spreading out, and Wilson is 2.4 seconds away from Sider. Can Wilson defend from McCabe Sam? Into turn 1 they go. McCabe Sam has the position. Can he hold it in there? He has done, and that is McCabe Sam back into P4.
Yeah, it's a McCabe Sam masterclass here, but he has to keep the position this time. Wilson, he's doing a bit of weaving. I'm not too sure if that's a weave just to let him through or for something else. But yeah, McCabe Sam up into P4, a good move there. And yeah, let's just see if he can keep it there coming into this corner. Yeah, he does. So P4 for the Aston Martin now. Maybe a couple corners later than he probably, or a couple of laps later, I should say, than he probably would have wanted.
So Otis Lawrence stretching his legs, Smokey trying to keep up, and Sider just doesn't have an answer to either of them right now. Let's see what McCabe Sam can do in front of WR Wilson this time around. Sav has managed to stop the rot in his dropping down the grid a little bit. He's stayed in P6 for quite a while now, so that's probably music to his ear, but he's still got FRA Matthew, of all people, hounding him behind, because Matthew will be desperate to get past him soon enough as well. But the leaders, they're spreading out, but McCabe Sam is catching Sider.
Yeah, absolutely. But Lawrence, good few laps from now. 1.4 seconds is that gap, breaking that crucial DRS barrier. Cypher has definitely lost it as well to Smokey. So these guys well and truly spreading out, and McCabe Sam has got a bit of work to do as well now if he wants to see himself try and get onto those podium places.
Yeah, FRA Matthew having a look at Sav down into turn 1. Is he going to make a move? He thinks better of it on this occasion. So it looks like they're He's just biding his time a little bit this time around, is FRA Matthew. So there is the first pit stop of the hards from VSR Finn. He's gone into the pits. He is happy. Well, he's happy to try and get an undercut on some of the guys ahead of him, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a plausible idea. It's not the easiest to overtake round here, as I said earlier on. As much as you've got all these straights, the DRS, when you're in a DRS train, can make it incredibly frustrating for some drivers and just really tricky at certain points. So an undercut or an overcut is definitely always a very plausible idea, and I would be pretty surprised to not see that being happening in any time soon. I think it's going to be lap 18. We'll start to see these hard guys come into the pit lane. But we've also got that spanner in the works of the rain coming in as well, so we need to keep an eye out on that one as well.
Yeah, it's still pretty light here in Monza, so I don't know if the game is just playing tricks on some of these drivers. But that in itself could cause us, they're second guessing themselves. Do they pit? Do they not? We'll have to wait and see. Because if it's rain for the final 2 laps, they're not going to go and pit for intermediates. But we have got pits. McCabe Sam jumps. So does FRA Matthew. So let's go on board with WR Wilson, who's got Sav for company. Now that both of those drivers have pitted, as does Choco pits as well. So they're going a little bit earlier than you predicted, which is going to be an interesting one, whether they can hold out for the remainder of the race. The tyres should be fine, but they won't be as nice at the end as these guys who are deciding to stay out a little bit longer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Zephyr Matthews spun it, came out of the pit lane there on the cold tyres. It's just caught him out, and I think he's beached the car as well. It's a rare one to see. But FRA Matthew, it's a huge mistake. It's had to reset the track, unfortunately. But do you know what? That's a tough one from Matthew, and yeah, that's probably race over, unfortunately, for the AlphaTauri driver.
It doesn't look like he's got damage, but that is something incredible that I don't think I've ever seen before. And that's Matthew now into 13th place, 7 seconds behind Choco, who was probably about 7 seconds behind him. And his bad luck this season continues. And that's not what he would have wanted at all. Wilson then still holding ground to Sav right now.
Yep, he is doing a good job at the moment, these two, and if they do come into the pit lane this lap, it'll be interesting to see where they are in relation to McCabe Sam, who did an undercut earlier on. Sav that goes into the pit lane, and the WOR Smokey as well, who comes into the pits. But McCabe Sam, where can he come out in relation to all this? He's the main one to trigger that undercut. It's probably been a tough lap trying to get those tyres up to temperature, but now he's up to speed. It'll be interesting what he can do with those softer compounded tyres. Let's
see what McCabe Sam can do. He's round Parabolica now. Is it going to be enough to get a bit closer to Smokey? I don't think Smokey is going to be the one to beat. There is Smokey out of the pit lane. Where is the Haas? There's the Haas. How much of a gap is it? It's not that much of a gap he's made to Sav, and that could be problematic to it. It's 1.4 seconds at the moment, but I suppose Sav has got to heat those tyres up, and that could cost him big time. Plackey's made a good run out of all that as well. Odd to see Wilson, Cyber, not pit. We know Otis will go further, but this could be interesting to see how it all pan out. Let's go on board with Cyther. Yeah, let's go on board with Cyther as he rounds through Ascari.
Yep, Cyther, he's doing well at the moment, isn't he, in P2. He's just running his own race. I think it's a net P3, if I'm right in saying. But do you know what? This track is getting considerably darker. When you look at it, it's grey skies. It's a damper track, or a darker track, I should say. And yeah, maybe Caesar in the chat wasn't completely wrong there with the possibility of rain coming, because yeah, the track is definitely darker than it was a couple of laps ago.
Cyther wanted to lead a lap, and he's definitely going to be doing that now because he hasn't pitted. Neither has WR Wilson. Is Axe deciding to pit? Axe stays out as well. So let's have a look at Smokey as he rounds Ascari here. Parabolica here, and where he will come out in contention with Otis Lawrence, FRA Elite, coming down. There's the Mercedes ahead of him. Is he going to catch him enough into turn one to be back in the DRS? We'll have to wait and see. I don't think he is, I think, yeah, it's not enough. The undercut hasn't worked for the Red Bull driver.
Yes, that's a tough one, that, isn't it? And you look at his ERS for WR Smokey, 6% to the name of the Red Bull, and that's not a lot at all. That's a huge advantage that he's going to lose it without that ERS. So yeah, that's a tough one for Smokey. I thought it would mean better than that. And then also just got a food for thought here. I'm wondering if these guys on the hard compounded tyres that haven't decided to pit yet are maybe waiting for some rain. I'm not too sure when this rain is coming exactly, but maybe that's what they're doing. They're maybe just going to try something different and maybe hope that this rain comes sooner rather than later.
Well, that is a very much a case of go big or go home situation for some of these drivers. So, Scyther, Wilson and Axe all deciding to stay out. Amin, down in 15th place, is still on a set of mediums, 14 lap old, so he had to pit early with an incident. Just as a reminder, we have lost 5 drivers. NVR Lucas was because of his controller disconnecting and causing an incident. Pisty retired or crashed out as well. Nico, Lacey and Obito have all retired in the pit lane as well. But let's have a look at it from this point of view. Right now, Scyther, Wilson and Axe leading this race, the trio, because they haven't pitted and are waiting the rain.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is maybe the idea now. I think you've probably stayed out too late now to get any advantage of an overcut or any advantage of softer or better tyres at the end of a race. I think this could be setting out for the rain, and as you said, it is definitely go big or go home. And yeah, it's a big risky one. I think the weather, maybe I'm wrong here, but I think it's slightly unpredictable with how it can impact a track. This game, you know, it could be raining for 6-7 laps and it might not make a difference, or it could rain for 1 lap and everyone has to pit for intermediates. So it's a big risk these guys are taking, and yeah, let's hope for that for their sake it works out.
Well, Otis will have to dispatch a couple of those drivers before it as well. We are on lap 18 of 27. Scyther, heading into Parabolica now as we're on board with McCabe Sam as he's still slightly pulling away from PSR Sav behind, who's in 7th place as these guys head into Ascari. The top 3 yet to pit, just to keep reminding you of that. They have a little bit extra work to do. WR Smokey still got a little bit of pace on him because he's still staying between 1.3, 1.2 to the FRA Elite, who is catching Axe a little bit less than a second lap at the moment, but that is going to increase quite quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just thinking there as we were on board with Sam, I just thought this could be a real chance for Sam to maybe get a podium in this race. If you think maybe Scyther staying out for a little bit longer on those hards, he's going to be losing time to McCabe Sam. I'm not too sure the exact lap times, but if this doesn't go wet sooner rather than later, then I think Sam could definitely be in with a good shout. However, if this does go wet or intermediates in the next 1, 2, 3 laps, this could be a real chance for Scyther or Wilson to get a seriously good result here.
Scyther yet to have a tier 1 victory this season. He's had 3 second places, but this could be absolutely golden move from Scyther. We're not 100% sure how it's all going to pan out, but lap 19, and they're taking the risk. They've taken the risk, and well, big risks, big reward is the way I know Ryan says it quite often. And at the moment, these 3 could have made an absolute incredible risk reward benefit. As Otis Lawrence is only 5.9 seconds behind Axe. But if the rain does come out, it's going to be even harder to overtake.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility, but I think as well I'm going to turn it to the other side. If this doesn't rain, you could argue that Scyther and Wilson have thrown away, 15 and 10 points and respectively, so this is a huge risk they're taking, and we're not seeing any rain yet. It's definitely darker, but there's not even spitting of rain yet, and sometimes in this game can take a few laps to get to the stage where it is intermediate conditions. So these guys, they're definitely going to be pushing it in terms of tyre wear, in terms of how long these hards can go, because surely they've got at least another 3-4 laps to go. And even at that, are the intermediates the best choice to go into? I'm not too sure. I think this could be a pretty dodgy call now for these 2 guys out front.
Let's go back on board with McCabe Sam, because PSR Sav is slowly catching as they come through the Curva Grande. We are waiting to see if the rain comes, it's all if, buts and maybes, and these guys have taken massive risks in the lead, and we're going to continue talking about that for, well, a lot of these remaining few laps, because we just don't know what's going to happen. That's the great thing about it. It is a little bit of a lottery at times, and these guys know the only way really to beat Elite is to try something a little bit different.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm not too sure if I'm seeing things. I thought I'd seen a bit of rain there, but maybe not just yet. I think I'm getting my hopes up. But yeah, I think that was a great point you made there. If you want to beat Elite, I think, without any disrespect, I think 9 times out of 10 you're not going to be quick enough for front of these drivers. So it's about taking the risk. It's maybe about doing the extraordinary thing that maybe most people wouldn't do. And that's exactly what Scyther, Wilson and Axe are all doing right now. And yeah, I think lap by lap it looks more and more unlikely it's going to work. But Joe, it just takes that one moment where the rain comes and it could all just be flipped on its head once again.
Let's see what happens. It's 4.8 seconds between Otis and Axe. Could we see a race where we don't have Otis on the podium, even though he started on pole? This is going to be very, very interesting. It's still not raining yet. It's getting darker by the moment. And you can see the clouds. It's not as bright and sunny. It's not the Italian weather we're used to. Into Verante 2, goes McCabe Sam. He's still holding Sav at arm's length at the moment. He's doing well through Lesmo 1 into Lesmo 2. He goes. Wilson and Sider seem to be just trading their lap times a little bit, because Wilson got Sider down to 1.8, but it's at 2.1. And it's similarly to McCabe Sam and PSR Sav, to be honest. The times are going up and around, but this is some interesting strategy games. And that's the rain. That is the rain. We've got it. Have Wilson, have Sider, Wilson and Axe just made one of the most... Well, I hate using this term, but one of the most goated moves in WOR Tier 1 history.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility, isn't it? But it's, again, how hard this rains. I think it's a huge important factor. You know, this could be rain till the end of the race and still be dry tyres. You know, it's just the way the game works sometimes. It's that unpredictability, and I think there's a huge level of uncertainty for some of these drivers now. It'll be clear and obvious when it is raining, but it's just when. Will it be soon enough before the final lap? Will it be lap 26 and it's maybe not worth it? But for what he's Scyther, Wilson and Axe, it just matters when, because it has to be intermediate conditions within the next few laps for them to get a real benefit out of this strategy.
Judy and Matthew fighting. There's some on-track battles going on right now. The rain is coming. There's no spray. That's when we've got to that's when we know. But how much can these how much more punishment can these hard tyres take? Otis is 2.3 seconds behind Axe. He can see the win, the podium slip away from him. He is catching Axe though. They might have made an incredible decision. Let's go on board with PSR Sav, because he's now within DRS range of McCabe Sam. But is it too little too late for him? He's realised, I think, he has to do it now or it's never, because the DRS will be disappeared. Is it going to be enough? Are we going to see pit stops from anyone this lap? I don't think we will. But is that a wet line I can see? Or is that just... I don't know anymore. Connor, Callum, sorry. What is going on? Is it going to be wet with intermediate tyres?
I think it will be, but I think it could be just slightly too late on the lap 23 now. And it's, 4-5 laps left of racing. I think maybe come lap 26, 27, that's when I think the crossover will happen. And then it's just a matter of, is it too late by that point? Is it worth just sticking it out on those dry tyres on a wet track? I think we might just see a little bit of a split, but yeah, super interesting. Last few laps, you're just looking at 2D at the moment. Can I go for a move on Matthew? He's just sitting behind at the moment. It's a tricky time to make a move now, as much as you've got that DRS. It's a greasy trap now. It's a greasy track, I should say. It's slippy. The braking points have changed. Everything's changed to the few laps before it now. So yeah, it's really tough conditions for a lot of those drivers out there.
And I think Axe's tyres are starting to go, because here comes Otis Lawrence as they bound down. He made the move before Ascari. Axe had no answer. And Otis Lawrence now 6.4 seconds behind WL Wilson. We look at it from this view. You can see his leading battlers just up the road. He's pulled away from Smokey like a rate of knot. Otis realises, I think now, he has to push. He has to push now, or otherwise he's not going to get anywhere. There is a pit stop for Scyther. Let's see what he does. Is it wet tyres? DRS is disabled. Has he just pulled off a masterclass here?
Wow, this could be huge. On the intermediate tyres, as you would think, for Scyther, and yeah, this could be huge for Scyther. I definitely didn't see that one coming. Wilson is left out on that track. It's going to be a tricky lap now on those old hard tyres on a wet track. It's not going to be easy. Scyther as well in the pits. We've got a yellow flag as well in sector 3. We've got a lot of drivers into the pit lane now, and definitely the crossover is well and truly here.
Oh, this is the end of a Monza Grand Prix. We won. Wilson 5 seconds in front of Otis Lawrence. Scyther could take victory for the first time in season 13, and there is still so much to play for. Otis is hurtling down every corner. Second Lesmo, he's still hitting the apexes. I wonder if he's going to risk it. Is he going to risk go big or go home on just staying out on dry tyres? But the rain is now tumbling down. And Axe is lost. He's 3 seconds behind. Smokey is absolutely on fire as well now. Smokey's turned up the heat on Axe. He realises that a podium is now getting very, very away from him slowly. But there's not much time gained from Scyther to Smokey there, so it might not be intermediate tyres yet.
Yeah, Joe, as much as it was at that DRS disabled, that's traditionally known as that point of crossover. It doesn't look completely wet in Wilson pits, but Otis Lawrence is staying out. He's not having any of it. He is confident in the pace and the tyres and everything about it, so he's staying out. Smokey stayed out as well. So there's a complete contrast, a complete contradiction all over the grid here, and this is going to be an absolute cracking final 3 laps to this race.
Oh my goodness, I feel like I need a button where it plays the final countdown music for all this. Scyther back into P3. Connor has pitted on his 8-lap old mediums, so he knows it's time for intermediates. But is it intermediate enough? I know that sounds stupid, but Scyther is now catching Wilson. It's 11 seconds when it was 11.5 as they crossed the line. These guys, these top 2 guys may have made a mistake. Finn, for some reason, is on softs. So he probably, hopefully, will be pitting. Matthew is outside the points. Is it? Has he made a mistake here, going a bit later than everyone else? Oh my goodness, there's so many questions. Lap 25 of 27, and Scyther's catching a sector right now.
Yes, it is definitely wet. It's definitely dark now, and it is well and truly intermediate tyres. But is it the point for no return for Will, Smokey and Otis Lawrence? Is it just too late now to go back on intermediate? So they need to stick it out now. We've got VSR finally retired from the section. Hopefully we don't get any safety car from that, but he is well and truly out. We'll stick on board with Otis Lawrence at the moment. Does he stay out? He absolutely does stay out. He's committed, so he's thinking, I've committed now, I need to stay in the dry tyres. He's got 2 laps left, and it's going to be the longest 2 laps of this Mercedes driver's life, because he's got Scyther hunting them down on those intermediate tyres.
Scyther, 8.3 seconds. He's gone on. He's gone on. Otis Lawrence has missed turn 1. Smokey has managed to make it, but Otis Lawrence, a very, very rare mistake from the Mercedes driver. I've got Russia, Lando Norris all over in my head. Scyther surely got the grip, surely got the pace now to punish these 2 drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. It was 2 seconds again last lap, and that was just a bit of a transition period, and I think this could be so much more this lap. I think obviously that huge mistake from Otis Lawrence isn't going to do him any favours, but it's only a lap and a half to go, and Joe, this could be very, very close. You know, Otis Lawrence, he is just about tiptoeing around, he's trying to keep it on the track the best he can, but also remembering he has to absolutely go for it. And then you've got Scyther on the other hand, he's on the perfect tyre, on the wet track, and yet a lap and a bit to go. It's definitely all still to play for.
What a way to end Monza Tier 1 here at Xbox. Definite brown moments, brown trouser moments for these 2 drivers. How is Otis is drifting? So is WR Smokey at the end of Ascari. Scyther is 2 seconds behind this. I'm going to go on board with the Williams man, because this could be it. This could be his first ever victory in Tier 1. There is so much riding on it for him. He's made the riskiest, boldest move he could possibly have made, but he's so much quicker through Parabolica. He's going to pick off the Red Bull ahead of him like there's no tomorrow. These 2 should be able to hold on to podium. Scyther just isn't able to get there. 10 seconds for Amin there. He's struggling a little bit up the inside. And Otis has missed the breaking point for turn 1 again. Somehow he is now got a 10-second penalty as well. What is going on? This is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that 10 seconds will definitely get removed. Just for any reference as well, Scyther was 10 seconds quicker than Otis Lawrence. You don't normally hear that one, but you can just see Otis Lawrence. He's tiptoeing here, and Scyther's going to be the easiest move of his life. He goes up into P1 in the last lap. It's a strategical masterclass from the Williams, and he's going to be rewarded with a very healthy 25 points.
That is exactly what he wanted. Let's stay on board with Otis Lawrence, because Wilson is now 2.1 seconds behind Smokey. Is there enough? There's someone around just ahead of them. I think that's Amin, still struggling. Look in the background. Smokey. Oh, Wilson nearly takes the back end of that Red Bull off as they go through the second Lesbo. And that is Otis Lawrence just at Ascari now for WR Wilson. 3.7 seconds. Is there enough for him to catch up? Oh my goodness, this is going to be close across the line. I don't really want to miss Scyther crossing the line, because he deserves something. Parabolica, he's around. Let's see. He is going to be your WOR Xbox Tier 1 winner for the first time. Scyther wins. Otis, is he going to hold on for second place? Wilson goes up the inside and takes second place away from Otis. And that is heart-wrenching for Otis. He tried his best. Fair play to both him and Smokey. But what a race. What a race.
Yeah, unbelievable, Joe. First time commentating Tier 1. I would love to do it every week if it's like this. Crazy stuff. The rain was just at that awkward crossover point. It wasn't sure and it wasn't clear what to do. And Joe, at Scyther, it was a great call from him. It was completely bold. He completely rest the podium as well. That would have been an easy P3 if he stuck with the same with everyone else. But Joe, he rested 15 points and he got the reward there. A well and truly deserved win there from Scyther. And all the credit should go to him tonight.
What? How? What? I don't know. Words will not describe how that race has gone. That 10 seconds probably going to be taken off Elite. Might not be, because that's 2 braking zones in a row that he lost ground. That he just made a mistake on. But wow, what a race. And congratulations, Scyther, for his first Xbox Tier 1 race victory this season. That is, him and Wilson absolutely nailed it on. Axe, I think, coming home in P4 in the end, but that could be P5 if that penalty does get removed. So great drives from them. I mean, the game gave driver of the day to Axe, but I'm starting to think I should side with Scyther on that one for a great strategy.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm not trying to discredit the Axe call, but I think for Scyther and Wilson as well, these 2 guys, they were in great positions. It was 3rd and 4th or 3rd and 5th, I think. It's a lot of points to gamble, and if that didn't work out, that would have been absolutely nothing. So they risked it all, and I think that is where the real credit goes to, because they risked a lot there, but they got a great reward out of it, 1st and 2nd respectively. And yeah, it's 2 great drives from 2 great drivers.
Incredible that. So it's Scyther, Wilson and Smokey, your podium finishes there. Axe, Otis, McCabe Sam, FRA Placky, PSR Sav, Connor, Matthew, you're rounding out your penalty point scoring position there with Choco, Tudi, Finn, Bob, Amin and Finn. Oh no, Finn does get classified, but they were your classified finishers with Abito, Lacey, Nico, Pisty and Lucas outside of that as well. We are going to move to the podium questions screen. Like magic. And hopefully get some of those guys in to have a little chat, because wow, what a race. I mean, that for you on your Xbox Tier 1 commentary debut, I don't think you could have asked for more, could you?
No, absolutely not. I mean, you don't get a last lap overtake as simple as that. You don't get a race where Otis Lawrence doesn't win that often either. So, yeah, it's not to discredit Otis Lawrence, because he had a great drive as well. It might be P3 in the end, I think, if that penalty gets removed. So, yeah, it's still great points for him. It's definitely not the end of the world, but yeah, it certainly was a cracker of a race. And yeah, well done to all the drivers as well, because they were the ones that put on the show.
Now, I'm just trying to obviously just trying to comprehend what's going on, because that is some incredible stuff. But the big talking points was obviously Scyther and Wilson deciding to take that extra gamble, but also, if you were saying in the race, and quite rightly, it might not have got wet enough, and they've made a massive mistake at that point, and then Otis would have seemed like a hero for doing what he did.
Yeah, I think it's genuinely a lottery. I think this game, maybe it's a flaw, maybe it's realistic, but I think the weather is so unpredictable and how it can affect the game. You know, I think that was pretty average to see. It was a couple of laps in that really got wet, but sometimes that could have easily been dry tyres and a wet track was the best way to finish there. So yeah, it was a real gamble, and I think it's just the luck of the draw. Sometimes if you stay out, if you don't, and unfortunately for Otis Lawrence today, the luck wasn't on his side, but he doesn't need it. You know, it was still a great result. As I said, P3, still some great points, and yeah, I still don't think he should be too disheartened with that result in the end.
Right, we will see if Scyther and Wilson definitely around for interviews, because I'd love to see what they think about that race, because really that was huge. But we will wait and see. I'm just waiting to see if either of them responds in the message there in the Discord. Sorry, I'm just trying to. It was a little bit of a DRS train at start, wasn't it? It was a you know, there was a few moves, but nothing major.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you probably didn't have the rain, you're thinking that was a bit boring. But yeah, the rain really added something. And it was strange how the race panned out. You looked at it from the start, and you're right, there was a lot of DRS trains, but then the pit lane came, and a lot of people pitted at different times, and you had a few people staying out, and then it really broke up the grid. And I think you only had, I think it was Toody, and he was the only person in the whole grid in the DRS with someone that whole second half of the race, which was really interesting to see. And then you also had Sav and McCabe Sam, but other than that, everyone was really spread out. And then the rain came, and then the last 6-7 laps was a complete lottery, it was a complete gamble, and was pretty much chaos at the end. But yeah, the race panned out really smoothly, and then at the end it just went completely chaos, and yeah, treated us with an absolute cracker in the end.
I am going to invite Cider. That was the invite there sent to Cider, so I'm hoping, I'm not sure if either of them got my message on Discord. I don't want to say I'm desperate to talk to them, but I do feel like we need to at least speak to one of them about what we've just witnessed, because that has to be one of the most impressive strategies that WOR, a Tier 1 Xbox, has ever happened, because there was so much on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as much as maybe Scyther's maybe not in a championship battle, I know he's maybe, he's 76 points off it, so I don't think you classify him as a championship battle, but do you know what? I think he still would do well. I think it's still a great accolade to be third or fourth in the race, so he risked a lot. He did risk a lot, and I think it's so impressive that he did do it, and I don't think a lot of drivers would have done it. As we've seen, you know, a lot of drivers wanted to play it safe. It's so easy to just play it safe, copy everyone else, and just settle with what you've got, but he wanted more. Same way Wilson, pair of them, they wanted more, and they got more, and yeah, super happy for Cypher as well, getting that win, because I think he deserves it. I think he's a really, really quick driver this year. He's really stepped up the mark compared to last year. I've commentated on him in Tier 2 last year when he was very impressive, but didn't even win Tier 2 last year in WOR, and he just shows you the level he stepped up this year to be fighting at the front, and then to finally get that win tonight. Yeah, it was definitely fully deserved.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible for Cyther there. I don't think I'm going to get any of them to come in. That's such a shame. Wilson can't make it. But that's not all the talking points, because FRA Matthew, the bad luck struck again, basically beaching himself up on the side there. That's so unlucky. And I mean, I'm just trying to I don't think I've ever seen anyone be as unlucky as that.
Yeah, it's tough for Matthew, and it's slightly self-inflicted, but you know, he's an incredible driver and he really is impressive, but that is self-inflicted. It's a bit of a rookie error, and I don't want to sound too harsh because he's such a talented driver, but it is a rookie error. He spun coming out the pit lane, that was him spinning it and dropping it onto the grass. Even if he wasn't beached, he's still losing 5-6 seconds there, and it's something that is a bit recurrent in Matthew's races. It's just silly mistakes here and there, spins here and there, and it's yeah, it's something that if he can rectify and get that out of his races and get that out of the way he plays, he could be a fantastic league racer coming up in the next few seasons, because the promise is there, the ceiling's really high. It's just those mistakes that sometimes creep in, which is sometimes holding them back.
Yeah, we'll wait a few more moments, but such a Cyther can't join either, so that's such a shame. But two incredible drives from both of those. I'm not sure how the penalty situation is going to go either, so we might have a really, really different podium this week, and a new race winner this week. I mean, I tweeted out saying, are we going to see a new one? We have, and I'm so thrilled that WOR Xbox Tier 1 has seen a new race victor. Callum, thank you so much for coming along and being a part of this story, really, because it is. This Monza race has been a story. Final words from you, please.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. It's a great stage to be on tonight, and it's a great privilege to commentate in such a great race. I credit to all 20 drivers racing tonight, because each and every one of them contributed in their own way, and yeah, certainly a special race to go down in the history books of WOR.
Thank you again. So yeah, and thank you for Luke getting you in on notice as well. But for Tier 1, at least, we are finished for the week. We have some incredible commentary throughout the week. I believe you're back in Tier 2 tomorrow, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. If we've got half the race that we did tonight, we'll be in for an absolute cracker tomorrow in Tier 2.
You might not have a voice by Wednesday by this
I
point.
know.
But myself and Callum are back on Friday night for the WOR Legacy Division. That's going to be a great one. And then from an WOR Tier 1 Xbox perspective, we are back next week for the Spanish Grand Prix. If it's anything as half as good as this one, we both might lose, you might lose your voice in Tier 1 and I might lose my voice in Tier 2, in Tier 1. I've got that the wrong way around. Anyway, but thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week and we'll see you then.